My name is Tony DeMarinis. I was the chair of the OCA in 2000, and I'm representing the Ottawa Region Masonry Contractors Association today. We're proud to sponsor and introduce the Major Investments in Defense Spending session. Today's speaker is Antoine M. Ryan. Good Italian name. He's Regional Service Line Leader, Contracts Service Defense Canada, Construction Canada. So Antoine, please provide us your presentation.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks to the Ottawa Construction Association for inviting Defense Construction Canada to present major investments in defense spending as it pertains to infrastructure today. I'm absolutely grateful to be here with you today, and hopefully, as part of this session, you'll at least be able to learn one thing. Off the bat, I'll be honest here, I won't be as dynamic as Jenny in her previous session as for the ones that attended her session. So of course, thanks Tony. My name is Antoine Henrique. Close to Italy, Switzerland. So close enough. Yeah. So regional procurement, regional service line leader with Defense Construction Canada for now, going on 9 years. And today, before we start, so who's heard? What do you guys know on the latest government in Canada infrastructure defense investment? So this Monday there was an announcement. So who can tell me what have you heard about defense investment as it pertains to infrastructure? So not the drones, not the ships, not the F-35s. Anyone? Oh, so that's going to be a very informative session.
You're spending a lot of money on that.
Good. And that's directly tied to what? The Minister of Defense announcement on Monday saying that the recruitment is up for the best recruitment in the past 30 years by 8,000 recruits. New recruits, new training accommodations required, and new housing required for those troops across the bases. Any other hands I saw? Yeah.
No, there's a large project in Richmond going on.
Yes, Dwyer Hill Training Center. So Canada's Special Operations, Special Forces reside there, or that's their home anyways. So yeah, good point. And again, I think maybe less here in Ottawa because it's the command and control headquarters space, not your typical training base or Navy base or Air Force base, but generally speaking, new equipment from frigates to fighters to drones to strategic tankers. So new capabilities or modernization of new capabilities require new infrastructure from accommodations to training on that new capability, and to maintain that new capability and house it. Park the plane and park the boat and so on. The submarines are next, but again, not here in Ottawa. So today I wanted to focus on Canada's major investments in defense infrastructure and what those investments mean in real practical terms for your businesses. So of course as you know, we are entering a sustained period of defense spending, and that represents great opportunity for industry and many of you in the room. So by the end of the session, you should clearly understand where the opportunities are, how the system works, and what you should be doing now to position yourself to be successful. So we'll move quickly through 4 areas. First, who DCC, who we are, how we fit in the defense system. Second, what's driving this unprecedented level of defense investment. Many of you probably already know. Third, what this means specifically in Ottawa. And again, I won't speak about the program from a national scale. I'll focus on Ottawa today. And finally, how industry engages very practically through procurement and partnerships. So let's start with who we are. So Defense Construction Canada at a glance. So Defense Construction Canada's mission is to deliver and maintain infrastructure, environmental projects, and services, and provide full lifecycle infrastructure support required for the defense of Canada. So DCC is a federal prime corporation that was established back in 1951 and we're proudly celebrating our 75th anniversary this year. So DCC is a matrix organization, and you can see here we operate through the 5 service lines there. So from project and program management services. So essentially, that's the team that helped D&D put the requirements together. Once the requirements are defined, we then move to procurement. That's my team. We put the contracts in place, and through various models, and that we'll go through later on in the presentation. And once we get to an award, we hand that off to our contract management practitioners who will manage that contract through the life cycle up to completion of the work. And we have also additional services such as environmental and real property management services. So we act as a delivery agent between D&D and the industry. D&D defines the requirement, DCC manages procurement, and delivery through fair, transparent processes. We do not set defense policy, and we do not select projects. That distinction matters. So by a quick show of hands here, who has previously worked on DCC projects? Oh, you look up. So you're good to go. So my next question doesn't apply then. Okay, good. So operating across Canada. So our head office here is here in Ottawa on Albert. We operate out of 7 regional offices from east to west, from Pacific, Western, Ontario, Central and North. So that's where I reside. So of course Central as Ottawa, the National Capital Region, Ottawa-Gatineau, some stuff in Gatineau, but very minor. And of course the North. I'm here today, we'll speak only about Central, but afterwards if you have any questions about projects elsewhere, specifically in the North, I'll be happy to answer them. Then Quebec, Atlantic, and National Services. So these 7 regions then span out by 33 site offices across the country. And Canada's North, we have an office in Yellowknife, and overseas in Latvia, supporting the multinational brigade out of Operation Reassurance since 2017. So we are about 1,500 personnel, and that's of course growing with the surge in program. And the corporate report is not out yet, but we are expecting about that we have $2 billion worth of yearly expenditure for the last fiscal year, and that is worth, the active contracts are worth $13 billion, and of course that will be growing over the next years. So this is just the slide to show how we operate across the world. Every small white dot is basically where we have previously or currently providing services. So the white line across the north is the dual-line monitoring system. And of course we have supported the Caribbeans out of Jamaica, and still do. And recently you've got Latvia on the eastern flank, and in Kuwait up to not too long ago, due to the conflict. So now diving into where we are here in Ottawa, so real property central. So again, before we get into the map here, I'll just outline a few facts here. So as many of you know, many assets are aging, which is also a driver for this increase of defense spending and infrastructure. Many assets are aging, creating sustained recapitalization demand. So what does the D&D portfolio look like? 21,000 buildings across the country, 2.2 million hectares of land holdings, nearly 12,000 residential housing units, 5,000 kilometers of roads, and approximately 20,000 works components. So aging infrastructure is a challenge. Defense assets average 37 years and 50% or 25% over 50 years. And rising concerns with respect to deferred maintenance and risks to operations. Of course, we also have expanding military demands, climate resilience needs, and urgent project delivery. So here, as we dive into the Ottawa region, the central, mostly in Ottawa, we've got the armory in Gatineau. But generally speaking, of course, we have Connaught Range, we've got Shirley's Bay, Carling Campus, the headquarter, which is also growing. We've got Uplands, where we are basically today, CFS Leitrim, and of course, Dwyer Hill Training Center in Richmond. So why this moment matters? So Canada is investing in defense at historic levels. This is not short-term stimulus spending, it is long-term structural investment focused on readiness and national security. So what are the three main drivers? Canada's defense policy is strong, secure, and engaged, NORAD modernization, and a growing focus on operational readiness, energy resilience, and modern infrastructure. For industry, this means predictable long-term demand across construction and modernization projects. So how does DCC and D&D work together to then work with you guys, industry? So D&D, they're the technical authority. They define operational needs, they establish the priorities, and they provide the funding, and ultimately own the infrastructure. While DCC, we are the contracting authority. So we put the contracts forward. We also help in some cases plan the projects with the Department of National Defense, and of course deliver the projects with your help. We do the procurement and then ultimately manage those contracts once we reach an award. The focus here, of course, is the final line is the line that matters ultimately. It's the one team, one objective, which includes you guys. This team includes industry. Without capable, prepared industry partners, mission-ready infrastructure simply doesn't get built. So procurement opportunities for 2026 and on. So the opportunity set through 2030 is diverse. It includes construction, civil works, mechanical electrical upgrades, professional services, and secure facilities. Of course, not every project is a mega project. There are opportunities for primes, sub-trades, consultants, and specialty firms, particularly those ready to work in secure environments and align with sustainability requirements. So in the room, how many who are prime contractors? Okay, subcontractors. Professional services, engineering, architects. Okay, good split. Say third each. Okay, outlook. Outlook here. So over. I know that the numbers vary from the different articles. 100 billion in planned investments for the next 20 years. That was what was outlined in the first DCC D&D Industry Day that was held in November. Who attended that? Sorry, I have a lot of questions for you guys. Who attended in November? Yes, I remember. Yeah, good. Okay, not a lot. So this is news to you. That's good. So yeah, 100 billion, and again, of course, as I said previously, this is to give you a higher level view of what's coming up, to then position yourself, okay, do we also do business in Quebec and so on, or can we reach to the north and so on? And you see a lot, like in terms of major capital work, the bulk of it is in the north, $40 billion, which aligns also with our Prime Minister's statement back in Yellowknife a couple of weeks ago. And then diving into where those locations are. So of course you had from a provincial, I guess, regional perspective. Now where that money is going to go, and of course this doesn't outline exactly the projects, but it gives you a good idea, especially in the Ontario region in Quebec. There's a big concentration of various bases that you could work for. So current major capital programs. So we already heard about one, which actually is the first one. So first, these are long-term programs, and many of them are, especially from a major capital program perspective. What's major capital is basically anything above $25 million. That's how we define major, and then minors below $25 million. Where it used to be not too long ago, 10 million was the threshold. So that grew quite a bit. So often spanning over many years from design to closeout. Second, timing matters. Successful firms follow programs early, and these are I'll provide you some tools to understand how to track those opportunities early on, and understand where projects are in their life cycle and prepare accordingly. So if we go first, and I will speak about the different procurement mechanisms afterwards. So first, we have a construction management contract for Eastern Ontario campus, so that's at our Dwyer Hill Training Center, expanding and recapitalizing that base entirely, essentially. So that contract is a construction management contract that was awarded to Ellis Don already some years ago and is ongoing. Secondly is the remotely piloted aircraft system. So I did mention, many of the major capital projects are directly tied to equipment purchase. Of course, here we have the remotely piloted aircraft system. The system won't reside here in Ottawa, but it will be operated out of Ottawa. So that's the ground control center, and that contract is following a modified design build contract, which was awarded to Bird Construction, and the construction started last August. Again, for subs, to position yourself, okay, Bird, we've got Ellis Don, these are the sub packages that could come out of these major projects. Moving on to DRDC, so Defense Research and Development Canada, Ottawa Research Center. So again, we already have that building is existent. However, they will be demolishing it and building brand new. That project is set to follow modified design model. The advanced procurement notice is out. The procurement is not out and is set to go out in the spring 2026 timeframe. So that anytime soon that will be released. Moving on to the CFHA Housing Ottawa program. So the intent there is to build 280 units here in Uplands, or very close by. And will follow modified design build approach also. So this project is also part of the CFHA, which is an operating agency under the Department of National Defense, that is responsible for military housing from a national perspective. Is planning a program of building 7,500 units across Canada, estimated at $3.6 billion. So out of the 7,500 units, we've got 280 here in Ottawa. That will also is imminent to be released. Of course, the advanced procurement notice was also issued. Last week we had a specific session on that program. I don't know if any of you attended that session virtually. Hopefully you did learn something out of that one. So that's that one. Moving on to the National Defense Secure Campus. So that's a building that is set or planned to be located at Carleton Campus. This one is following an integrated project delivery model. The award should be imminent on that one also. So this is DCC's fourth integrated project delivery project. And then we've got two other projects that are also following suit, estimated at above $25 million also, set to be released at a later time. So we talked about major cap, now moving on to minor cap. So again, this is the outlook of a three-year outlook, $487 million. And as part of the minor capital works, we also have a facility maintenance contract for the Dwyer Hill Training Center that was awarded to Black & Mac last year and is set for service commencement this year. So moving on to what I basically do, procurement models. The different, and as part of the different panels this morning, I did hear, other means to use, putting focus on collaborative delivery models, and this is it. And this is to show how DCC uses these collaborative models. So of course, these are the types of models or some of the models that DCC uses. Of course, the majority of the minor capital works of below $25 million and actually below $10 million typically uses a lump sum tender approach. So lowest price, lowest compliant bid wins. We do have some construction management, and we're looking at leveraging that approach more from a base perspective in the near future as we bundle work together. Bundle minor capital works together and implement through construction management. Modified design build. How familiar are you guys? Anybody has? Who knows about modified design build? Progressive design build, same thing. Okay, good. Okay. So who raised their hand? Can you explain to the rest of the group how that works? Okay, so modified.
Right there. Okay.
That?
You go ahead.
Okay. So modified design build. So and I'll speak. Some of you attended the CFHA housing program virtual session last week, and that's using a variant of modified design build. So if we start modified design build, again, it is one contract essentially, which will be responsible for both the design and construction. And typically we only award, so this is not design build, it's modified design build. And why I'm saying that, so the difference there is the award is typically only on design, and the construction is negotiated after the design is completed through open book negotiations. Whereas design build, typically when you submit your price contains both design and construction cost, right? So this enables collaboration with the owner throughout design development and design changes before we agree on a construction price for the implementation. The variant I was talking about, so you may hear different things, so say we'll call it phased modified design build, is to basically go to contract even earlier on to get the design builder to, in some cases, do site planning, finalize requirements from an SORI, so statement of requirements perspective, complete studies, and so on. Once those are completed, we do a change order and we negotiate design, and then once the design is completed, we do open book negotiation for construction. So that's the variant, that's the approach that is that will be used for the housing program of most of the 7,500 units for CFHA. And then lastly, integrated project delivery. Again, we're the first in the government to have used this approach. That was in Petawawa during COVID, the Royal Dragoons project. And we are now at our fourth. So a second project was also CSOTC, I forget the acronym, pardon me, was also done in Petawawa. Third project was Arctic Over the Horizon. That project used an IPD. That project is located in the Kawartha Lakes area. And then this fourth IPD is the National Defense Secret Campus here in Ottawa, located at Carleton Campus. So IPD, collaborative construction method that binds the owner, designer, and contractors in a single contract. So they're all signatory to the contract, whereas as the modified design builder, it's the proponent that signs the contract. There's one signature. Whereas integrated project delivery, you've got every party signatory to, and again, we can talk about the different models on, it's not a procurement delivery session here. So, so this enables to align interest for project from project inception to completion. Now moving on to professional services. Of course, many of, especially the architects and engineers in the room are familiar with our process. We typically use a request for agreement or proposal, which evaluates basically technical capability and cost. Typically, the split is 90 points technical, 10 points cost. We're also, as there is increased program, we're also exploring the development of we call it technical, and you'll probably see that for the ones that are interested coming up, and some have already been released, technical support services, which from a minor capital project program perspective, It enables to bundle design components and site planning into one contract, so the consultant then could have a better perspective from a base overview. So instead of developing a design for a roof and then developing a design for a road and so on, they can develop different components all in one contract, and that enables us to go out with bigger packages. But basically bundling work together. Indigenous participation. So as you know, the government in Canada has mandated that a minimum of 5% of the total value of federal contracts be awarded to Indigenous businesses. So Indigenous considerations are an important part of how defense infrastructure is planned and delivered. DCC works within the government of Canada's commitment to reconciliation and to advancing meaningful Indigenous participation in federal procurement. For industry, this can take several forms. It may include working directly with Indigenous-owned businesses, partnering or subcontracting with Indigenous firms, or identifying opportunities for Indigenous employment, training, and capacity building as part of project delivery. What's important to understand is that Indigenous considerations are not an add-on to projects. They are considered early during planning and procurement, and they are proportionate to the size, location, and nature of the work. For companies interested in defense work, the takeaway is straightforward. Understand Indigenous procurement requirements, build relationships early, and think deliberately about how your organization can contribute in a meaningful and respectful way. This isn't just about compliance, it's about better project outcomes, stronger partnerships, and a long-term participation in federal infrastructure programs. So in order to meet and exceed actually the percentage, I think the data is not there yet for last fiscal year. Previous fiscal year, I think we surpassed 12%. It's probably going to be near that also this year, more to follow. But we use different tools to meet that threshold and exceed that threshold. So that is through Indigenous participation plans that are included in modified design build contracts or IPDs, that we do standalone procurement strategy for Indigenous businesses. What that strategy is, again, there are in some cases they are mandatory PSIBs, in some other cases they're voluntary. We have done, I think, 2 or so in the Ottawa or Central region. And what is PSIB? It's basically a Canadian federal program designed to increase Indigenous participation in federal contracts. It uses set-asides to reserve for businesses with at least 51% Indigenous ownership, and requires 33% of the work value to be completed by Indigenous entities. So how to get involved? So first, know the program. Through that, track upcoming opportunities, understand the different phases, and get security cleared. Most of our projects do require industrial security clearance, and of course, partner strategically. Joint ventures and teaming are often essential for scale, security, and capacity. And we're seeing that on larger projects that I won't talk about because they're not in Ottawa, but specifically for NORAD, Northern Basin, we're seeing some interesting partnerships that are being created. So industry engagement channels. So of course, our opportunities are on MERX. And as part of MERX, we also issue advanced procurement notices. What are they? It's to advise industry that what is coming up, the value, the timing of the procurements, and the scope of the work at a high level. It also identifies the level of security that is tied to that opportunity. So in the case that your firm is not security cleared, it enables you to start the paperwork earlier on. So when the RFP or the tender hits the street, your paperwork is already completed. Also, of course, our notice of proposed procurement are also following the EPNs. The actual solicitations are also posted on MERX. Again, something that is new, so on the left there, that's if you just, you Google DCC MERX, you'll land on this left picture. And you have a so right there. You can see advanced procurement notices. So this is a new tab that we've created, so you can track, and it's not all over the place. You can actually track all advanced procurement notices in one tab. So that's been a new feature that's been added. And we have also starting issuing base-wide advanced procurement notices that include not only construction, it includes every opportunity. So say here in Ottawa, the base advanced procurement notice includes professional services, it includes construction, services, goods, and facility maintenance. Everything that is tied to that base is going to be in one APN, regardless how it's going to be delivered, through open competitive tender, through our open construction source list, through quick reaction tenders, so it's all in that base APN. Of course, the major capital works using modified design build, IPD, CM, or EPCs, that will be separate in individual advanced procurement notices, so that didn't change. We also engage through the different events, such as this one. So the industry day, so whoever did not attend last year, the intent is still to have another one, or the second edition this year again, in the fall timeframe, so October, November timeframe, more to follow on that. We also hold from a base perspective, what we call business-to-business networking events. So we held 2 editions here in Ottawa, and they're across the country, and that is to present with the upcoming program coming up from a minor and major capital works, and also essentially getting to meet folks, and for folks to meet each other also. And lastly, the awarded contracts directory. So on the right, so if you go on the DCC's website, you will find the contract activity. So that lists all awarded contracts for the past 30 days, and it gives you the project number, the project title, who it was awarded to, the contract value, and the award date. And that enables you that you're a prime, that you're a sub, that you're, whatever your business is, you can actually track throughout the life cycle from advanced procurement notice to the solicitation being posted to the award. You can know exactly, okay, now I want to be a sub on that project. Well, you can track who the prime will be, so you can then contact them and have a better idea of when those respective sub packages are going to hit the street. So for the ones, of course, the majority did not attend the defense or the DCC D&D industry day back in November, but at that time they did promise that they would issue the pipeline of projects from a major capital perspective coming up. And that is exactly what they just did, and they released that, I think it is last week. If you write defense major infrastructure projects, you will hit that web page, and there's about, 12 sub-pages of projects that you can filter from location, from different planning phases to construction completion and so on, even by value. And I think this is a great tool for you guys. Of course, I'm pretty certain that things will change and evolve, but it gives you it's better to have that than nothing. So it is a great tool to consult as you plan your portfolio in the coming years. So that's that. So key takeaways. Canada's defense investments are real, significant, and sustained. Second, D&D and DCC operate as an integrated delivery team to turn policy into new infrastructure. And third, industry collaboration is essential. As former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg once said, without industry, there's no defense, there's no deterrence, and there's no security. DCC provides the framework, but industry provides the capacity. Without the cranes, the concrete, and the expertise in this room, these strategic goals remain words on paper. We look forward to working with all of you. So now it is up to you to decide if you want to play a role in bolstering Canada's sovereignty through defense infrastructure projects. Thank you.
So we've left some time for questions, and because the bar is open, until we get any questions, we're locking the doors and not letting anyone out. So who wants to ask the first question? Back corner, thank you.
You mentioned you worked on 4 projects that had IPD, that went through the IPD process. I wonder if you could speak to kind of like the benefit of that integrated project delivery versus, design build.
Versus design build. So 3 of the 4 projects, actually there's only one that's been completed.
Okay.
So I can't say DC is an expert in IPD. 3 others are underway, and actually one is not awarded yet, and the second last is just started for the validation phase. So really there's one and a bit that we can talk about. And I think, without talking about those projects, the complexity of them, the status of those projects, the security posture, the particularity of those projects, the model just suited well for those projects. And again, the first one, it's not just about value, right? The first one was, I think, 60 million-ish. Second one, couple hundreds. Third one, billions. And this fourth one, 1.5, 2 billion, right? So it's not necessarily just, actually, I think value is a moot point. As you can see, as soon as you reach a couple dozen of millions of dollars. But yeah, I think, and there is a push, we are trying to find more candidates to use this approach, but we're not necessarily pushing to use it. Again, it goes through the procurement planning cycle, and out of that planning cycle, the best model is defined, and that's the output, right?
We have another question back there. Thank you.
So I work with Rocho Demolition. We're indigenously owned. Just for my understanding, how do you determine which projects are set aside? And is there going to be any further considerations as to further verification of indigenously owned businesses?
Yeah, I've heard about the verification and the auditing, and again, it's not to put it in someone else's shoulders, but even within our contracts, we can't audit. So it's all through Indigenous Services Canada, so they're the main body that provides the audit. That it's PSIBs, Indigenous participation plans, doesn't matter what the output is. They will do the audits. If there's any concerns on that, I would probably, I suggest that you push and you recommend or you provide your observations to them. Your first question, can you repeat your first part of your question, please?
How does it determine which projects are set aside and which aren't?
Yeah, so we have a DCC D&D Indigenous Procurement Strategy, and it outlines various strategies by types of programs, minor, major capital, but then again, you throw in land claims. There's locations, land claims, and so on. So and again, that's all determined through the procurement planning cycle. Of course, in the north, the most stringent, land claim that I work with is, and I think it is the most stringent across the country, is the Nunavut land claim, which prescribes exactly what you need to do. There's an Inuit firm registry that we have to consult, and I know many other land claims are trying to follow suit, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, so it's all that thrown in together, and then we determine, do we unbundle work based on capacity and market assessment? Is there the demolition package? Is there a civil package that we could parcel out and do a PSIP? So we did that in Yellowknife for our multi-purpose building that we built. That's just completed by PCL actually, but that we did do set asides, I think, on 2 packages earlier on, some civil packages and I think fencing or so. But those are all things we look at as we develop projects, and in consultation, of course, with policies or strategy and so on, right?
Awesome. Thank you.
One more question. Let's do back there. Sure.
In current contracts, is there any way to parcel out a package for IBP
So
after a
if,
contract is signed?
so if we have a master contract, is there a way to parcel out a contract to meet the IPP? Is that the question?
To tender specific packages
Yes.
to try to go up
So-
towards
so-
the 5% goal?
Yeah, so for instance, if we have, say, a CM in place, right? You have your prime that holds the CM. They, in order to meet their IPP, which is a target of typically 5% or higher, but again, it depends. We're cognizant that it's not always feasible across the board, looking at the eastern market versus west versus north versus Ottawa, complete different markets, right? So it's not just looking, mandate is 5%, we're slapping 5% and that's it, right? So there's market assessments that are done on every project to determine the feasibility of X percent. And yes, in order to meet that percentage, the CM in this example would be able to parcel out a sub-package and say this is a PISA basically, or following the PISA principle, right?
Yep.
Only Indigenous business can bid on it, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Any other questions? You sure? Okay, you can unlock the back door. I want to thank Antoine on behalf of the Ottawa Construction Association, the Ottawa Region Masonry Contract Association that sponsored, and our gift sponsors, Soloway Wright LLP and Beacon Light. So it says I'm supposed to present him the prize, the gift for showing up, but based on his position, he's not allowed to take it. So thank you, Antoine. Thank you.